good afternoon to our viewers in Singapore. Good morning or good evening to viewers from other parts of the world. Thank you for joining today's talk. We are lucky to have Dr. Kashinath G. Mehri with us today. Dr. Kashinath is an Ayurveda physician and a yoga therapy consultant. He holds a bachelor degree in Ayurveda medicine and surgery. He is also a doctor of medicine in yoga and rehabilitation. Dr. Kashinath has been inspiring young minds with his teachings on yoga therapy. Presently, he is working as an assistant professor in the Central University of Rajasthan. He has designed several yoga modules for chronic disorders such as Parkinson's, ankylosing spondylitis, asthma, hypertension, and heart disease. He is a lifestyle consultant for chronic ailments like heart disease, diabetes, asthma, depression, anxiety, and others. He has more than 45 publications in internationally peer-reviewed journals in the field of Ayurveda and yoga. He has guided many research scholars in their master's thesis. I'd like to welcome Dr. Kashinath. Thank you for sharing your time with us today. And I now give the floor to you.
Thank you. Namaste to all of you. I welcome all of you to this talk on lifestyle during cancer treatment. I will share my screen. Lifestyle during cancer treatment. So the reason I chose this topic is because it is so important to patient that everybody says when somebody is undergoing cancer treatment that you should eat this thing, you should not eat this thing, you should do that, do this. And most of the people, most of the cancer patients, they are confused and they do a lot of mistakes during the cancer treatment, and that significantly affects their living. Okay, so in order to make that clear, I will not spend a lot of time in the discussing about the burden of the disease, the prevalence of the disease, the incidences of the cancer, because a lot of my colleagues have already talked about it in the previous presentations. So one thing is that the cancer is a very painful condition and it has affected many people across the world, and it is the second most leading cause of the death. Now in this slide, I would like to take your attention towards that in the male and females, the cancer is more common in females compared to males. And among the females, the most common cancer is the breast cancer. The cancer affects many systems of our body, many organs of our body. The females, the breast cancer is very common. The good thing is, even though the prevalence of cancer in the women, the breast cancer is more common, the mortality rate is very less compared to the lung cancer in the males. So the mortality rate of the lung cancer in the male is very, very high. Regarding the cause of the cancer is a topic of debate. So there is no any clear idea that what causes this disease. But it is said, and even personally I believe, that it is always the combination of genetic and environmental factors. That means we have already the genes which causes the cancer. In fact, we have genes of all kinds of disorders. We have genes of heart disease, we have genes of cancer, the Alzheimer's disease, the asthma, the arthritis. That we have diseases of all sort of. We have genes of all sort of disorders. But only few of us will develop some kind of disorders. Not everyone. The reason behind that is, even though we have the genes of these disorders, but they are not in an expressed mode. They are in a silent mode. They are in a dormant mode. Okay, so they are sleeping. In a way, they are sleeping. Now, there is something called epigenetics. Epigenetics is all about the expression of the disease, the expression of the gene. So we have genes. We have a genes of, say, for example, obesity. Now, when your obesity genes start expressing, you will develop obesity. Now, here what you have to understand is what makes these genes to get expressed. to what makes these genes awaken is our environmental factors. So our environmental factors includes our lifestyle. Environmental factor is lifestyle. So when you say lifestyle, it comprises all that what we do, right? All that what we do in 24 hours of the day. So lifestyle is the way we sleep. The lifestyle is our how much rest we have. The lifestyle is how much physical activity we are involved in. The lifestyle is what we eat. Lifestyle is how we interact with the other person. Lifestyle is how much stress we develop and how effectively we release our stresses in a healthy manner. And lifestyle is about our habits, how much healthy habits we have, how much bad habits we have. All that comprises the lifestyle. Now, this lifestyle is the environmental factor that actually makes your genes awake or sleep. A healthy lifestyle will awake your healthy genes, and the unhealthy lifestyle will awake your unhealthy or disease genes. So when somebody follows an unhealthy lifestyle, then the unhealthy genes or disease genes get expressed, and we eventually develop that kind of disease. And same is true for cancer also. Okay? Fortunately, 30 to 50% of the cancers are preventable. So when I say preventable, so that means by a proper or a healthy lifestyle, we can always prevent the cancer. Okay? We can always prevent the cancer. Now come to cancer treatment. So a lot of my previous speakers have already talked a lot about this. So cancer treatment involves the surgery, it involves the radiotherapy, it involves the chemotherapy. Sometimes in some cancer you may not have surgery, only the radio and chemotherapy will be there, or sometimes only chemotherapy will be the choice of treatment. So depending on the permutation and even the sequence can be here and there. So sometimes radiotherapy will be the first and followed by the surgery and radio, chemotherapy. Like, okay. So the three major treatment modalities are surgery, radiotherapy, and chemotherapy. Now this is the topic of our interest, where now we cannot avoid the cancer treatment. So somebody, the patient who are diagnosed with cancer, so they have to have undergo the chemoradiotherapy or the cancer treatment. So they have to undergo surgery, they have to undergo chemotherapy, they have to undergo radiotherapy. So all that has to be there, because that is the current line of treatment in the present scenario. Now, unfortunately, these treatments, particularly the chemotherapy, has got a lot of side effects. Okay? And the previous speakers have already spoke a lot about it. The lot of side effects, they includes nausea, vomiting, constipation, gastritis, esophagitis. So what this indicates is, so when somebody is injected with the chemotherapy, so it causes a lot of inflammation in the body. So you can see patient develop mouth ulcers, the oral thrush, the oral cavity become red and hypersensitive. Patient cannot eat salt, cannot eat spicy food, so it's so much of burning sensation and all that. Now this is not happening only in the oral cavity, this is happening in the entire GI tract. Okay, right from the mouth to anus, the whole GI tract got inflammation. So that's why patient lose the interest in the food, he develop anorexia, uh, a lot of constipation, some patients develop diarrhea, sometimes there will be bleeding in the stool. So all that happens and that causes anemia. So anemia can be because of some other pathologies in the chemotherapy also. Okay, so these are there is a lot of inflammation. In addition to that, the chemotherapy also affects our immunity. So patient's immunity become low. Because of that, he becomes vulnerable for various kinds of infections. So that's why you might have seen patients with cancer, they always have mask and they're uh, 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 advised to avoid exposure to the social environment and be in the house itself as much as possible, isn't it? So because to prevent the infections, so they're vulnerable for the infection because of the low immunity. The most painful symptom of the chemotherapy is the pain. So they have pain all over the body. So multiple muscle pain, fatigue. So without doing anything, they feel a lot of tiredness. And even just getting up becomes very difficult. Even drinking water is very, very effortful for them. So that is the level of the fatigue they experience. And they also experience the low energy. They don't have any drive for living. They think that everything is waste, not interested in anything. I just lie down, just collapse my body on the bed. That's it. That is the condition. That is the level of the fatigue. That is the level of lack of interest. That is the level of pain they are experiencing. In addition to that, not only affects the body, it affects the psychology of the patient. A lot of patients experience depression. There are the incidents where the patient commits suicide. A lot of anxiety about the consequences, what will happen in the future, what about the future of the family, what about the future of the patients. So that all makes them very confused and there will be a lot of depression, anxiety. So in a way, so the whole life is shut down. The whole life is shut down for the patient. That is the level of side effect. That is how these side effects affects the life of the patient. Now, what conventional medicine offers in such scenario is the symptomatic. If somebody is experiencing the, say for example, constipation, there will be medicine to laxative. There will be laxative. There will be like a lot of fiber-based laxatives. If somebody is having a fever, there will be antibiotics. If somebody is having a pain, there will be painkillers. Believe me, a lot of these treatments, a lot of these medicines, they are often less effective. So even though patient takes medicine to reduce the pain, but pain will persist despite having a lot of painkillers. In addition to that, the the drugs, the tablets or the symptomatic treatment what we take, they themselves have got a lot of side effects. Okay. For example, painkiller. So painkiller causes gastritis. Even a healthy person or a person who is having a pain, non-cancerous patient, if if he takes painkiller, he will develop gastritis. So the patient who has already got gastritis, if he or she takes painkiller, that worsens their gastritis. Okay? So side effects are the major concerns. So what we can do is in such scenario, so what we can do is we have to focus on the lifestyle modification. So how lifestyle modification help the patient to overcome this scenario or to minimize this scenario. So lifestyle modification help the patient to minimize the side effects of the cancer, side effects of the cancer treatment. Okay, so there are lot of patients uh, to whom we advise lifestyle modification came us and say, and they express their feelings that help them a lot. They have seen their colleagues who are also had cancer and they had a lot of problem, and compared to them, the patient who has undergone lifestyle modification have very less side effects of the therapy or treatment. Okay, so this helps them to minimize the side effect of the chemotherapy. It improves their tolerance to radiotherapy. See, a lot of the time, the patient undergoing chemotherapy. So sometimes for oncologists, they have to stop the chemotherapy because patient is not tolerating the chemotherapy. So the patient's body's reaction is so much so that you cannot even you cannot continue with the chemotherapy. So they have to stop in between and wait till the symptoms get subsided. So the tolerance power is so poor. So when we do a lot of lifestyle modification, the tolerance to the chemotherapy improves so that the frequency of the chemotherapy can be given more, and the result of the chemotherapy also will be very effective. Okay? And it also makes the treatment less painful. Okay, so a lot of patient who makes the lifestyle modification, so to it helps them to get rid of pain. It helps to have a good amount of energy. All the depression, anxiety, low energy, fatigue, all that will be very very minimal. Okay, then it minimizes the use of the medications. So a lot of patients they take medication uh, for overcoming the symptom of chemoradiatherapies. So adopting a healthy lifestyle or a lifestyle modification help them to avoid the medications and eventually their side effects also. Now, what our lifestyle insists. So first thing is conserve the energy. This is very very important. So in my clinical practice, I have seen many patients when they are diagnosed with the cancer, they become panic. Okay, and anticipating that panic, what they do is they want to change their whole lifestyle in a day. Okay, so they start googling everything, and get a lot of information, and they start doing a lot of physical activity. They start involving in a lot of diet modification. Okay, so a lot of things. So they become panic and in reaction to that panic phase, so they try to do a lot of changes, and in that they lose a lot of energy. Okay, they lose a lot of energy. Remember, the chemotherapy side effects patient will not notice till 6 cycles. Okay? So chemotherapy side effects usually start after 6 to 8 cycles of the chemotherapy. So in the beginning, they may not experience anything. There will be a lot of the same energy they may be having, and they try to do a lot of physical activity and all that. So while doing so, they lose a lot of their energy. Okay, and this loss of energy definitely affects their energy level after 6 or 8 cycles of the chemotherapy. So there you need a lot of energy. So you have already lost a lot of energy in, you have spent a lot of energy in doing a lot of physical activities and this and that things. So we advise the patient to conserve the energy. So how to do that? Have physical activity but with a low intensity. So we recommend the Sukshma Vyayama, simple joint movement practices, which are practiced in synchronization with the breathing. So they have to inhale and open the palm, exhale and make the fist. So similarly, the wrist rotation, the shoulder, the neck, and there are very simple uh, loosening practices which are based on the yogic techniques and which are in synchronized with the breathing that help them to loosen the joint, to reduce the stiffness and to reduce the pain. At the same time, it will conserve a lot of energy, and that energy is going to help them during the side effects of the chemo. Then we add a lot of breathing techniques, simple Nadi Shuddhi Pranayama, the Bhramari Pranayama, the sectional breathing, the full yogic breathing, Shitali, Shitkari, Sadanta, the cooling pranayamas. So lot of patient who comes with the burning sensation in the chest. So many patients have this symptom. Like they have burning sensation in the chest, that is because of the gastritis during the chemotherapy. So we advise them to practice Shitali Pranayama. Just they have to roll their tongue, they have to slowly inhale through that tunnel of the tongue and exhale through mouth. So when they practice this for 10 to 15 rounds, 3 to 4 times in a day, the symptom of burning sensation, symptom of throat burning, all that subsides. Simple technique, but very, very effective. Okay. In addition to that, we recommend them a lot of relaxation practices. So they should not spend a lot of energy in practice, in physical activity. Instead, they have to spend a lot of time in relaxing. So we have various relaxation techniques like DRT, deep relaxation technique, which is based on the yoga principle. We have something called mind sound resonance technique, so which is the chanting of Mahamrityunjaya mantra, the chanting of Akara, Ukara, Omkara. Then this is a very effective, tremendous, powerful meditation that somebody can do and get a deeper level of relaxation. We also have Yoga Nidra. So we recommend these relaxation practices which are very effective and which help the patient to conserve the energy and relax the body very importantly, and that relaxes their mind. Okay? So that helps them to prevent the depression, prevent the anxiety and their effect, and conserve the energy. In addition to that, we also advise them to undergo Ayurveda massage, the whole body massage. There are a lot of Ayurveda medication, Ayurveda medicated oils, so they have to undergo minimum 4 times in a week. The whole body massage will help them to bring the vigor, the vitality, the strength in the body. Okay, so that also help them to relieve, prevent the one of the chemotherapy side effects is dryness of the skin. So this, which we compare with the Vata dosha of the Ayurveda. So this massage will help them to get rid of to reduce the Vata dosha, to reduce the dryness in the skin, and it is very soothing also. In addition to that, we advise the patient to undergo the Shirodhara, something called Shirodhara. So that what we can see in the picture is Shirodhara. So Shirodhara helps them to relax the mind. The very important is this massage, Shirodhara, the pranayama, the sukshmayama. They help the patient to get a deeper state of relaxation, and they also help the patient to get a nice sleep. Okay. Now, sleep is very, very important in patient with cancer, particularly during the chemotherapy, because when you have an adequate sleep, that sleep will help you to heal the GI tract, heal your ulcers in the GI tract, in the gastrointestinal tract. So that will help you to prevent the constipation. That helps to prevent the vomiting. That helps to prevent the diarrhea. Okay, sleep is very, very, very important. So these techniques like Shirodhara, massage, pranayama, they help the patient to have a deeper level of rest and have a good amount of sleep. The next is very important is hydrate. So dehydration is one of the side effect of the chemotherapy. For that, patient has to hydrate himself or herself by taking adequate amount of fluid. So fluid can be the water. Instead of having the plain water, we recommend them to have water with lot of minerals. So when the coconut water is a very good choice. Water with lot of nowadays you can purchase a lot of the electrolytes which you can add with the water and you can drink. So patient has to have adequate hydration in the body. Okay, and be comfortable in AC. So if there is a lot of heat outside, if there is a lot of, so don't roam outside, don't spend your activity in having a lot of sweat. You have to avoid the sweat. You have to have a good amount of water in your body. So avoid the tea, coffee, or alcohol or smoking, which actually increase the dehydration. And the other important aspect is diet. So you have to choose your diet very, very carefully. So a lot of people will recommend you to eat this thing. eat that thing, eat this herb, that herb, this food, this food. So don't do that. So what you have to do is we advise the patient to listen to your body. Okay? You have to assess which food suits you. Okay. So when you are given the vegetable choice of vegetables, you have to see that which vegetable is very much comfortable to you. So you have only 3 to 4 type of vegetables, and whenever you are eating, so we prefer the patient to have boiled vegetables. Okay, so boiled vegetables with that lot of water which is mixed with the vegetables. They have to drink that and eat lot of boiled vegetables. Take lot of juices. Okay? Lot of fruits which suits to your body. Okay, so this help you to have an easy digestion. This helps you to have an adequate amount of antioxidants in our body. This helps you to get rid of constipation. Okay, so this food is easy for digestion. Now, at the same time, you cannot just be dependent on the boiled vegetable because you have to have energy also. You have to have a lot of protein. You have to have a lot of carbs and the fat as well. So in that case, we advise the patient to have khichdi. So khichdi is one of the Indian, very famous Indian healthy dish, which we prepare out of rice and moong dal. So we take equal amount of rice and moong dal. We mix both these, and we add 6 times more water to that, and we chop the uh, vegetables, the suitable vegetables to the patient, and mix with that, and we boil it in the cooker. So you can add little bit sapotida, which is very good for the digestive tract. You can add little bit of cumin seeds. Okay, you can add little bit of curry leaves. So you can add little ghee to that. So when I say ghee is a desi cow's ghee. So mix with that and eat it at least 2 times in a day. That will give you an energy. Okay. So like this, you have to listen to your body, identify the fruits, identify the vegetables, identify the food items which suits to your body, and have that very patient. So don't jump onto eating this thing and that thing, and before eating, have a prayer. So we ask the patient to just sit in front of your food and close your eyes and do some japas like om chanting or some prayer to your god, and just have just meditate on your food. So say yourself that I'm going to eat this food, and this food is very very healthy for me. It suits to my body, and it get digested by my system, and it gives me a lot of energy. You have to say this. You have to believe that, and then you have to eat. So that will help you to prevent the anorexia, prevent the vomiting sensation, prevent the vomiting and constipation. And we believe that such practices definitely would help to not only relax the mind, they also help to maximum absorption of what we are eating. Then very important is adequate rest. Okay, adequate rest. Have rest even in the daytime also. So sleep 1 to 2 hours in a daytime. Okay, and we recommend a lot of meditative techniques like MSRT. What I say, 2 sessions of MSRT, one in the morning, one in the night. Frequent sessions of our DRT, like 3 to 4 sessions of deep relaxation technique in a day. Okay? Early to bed, early to rise. Okay. Uh, Very important is you have to avoid all the activities. The patient has to avoid all the activities what he or she used to do before. So don't engage into lot of intellectual discussions. Don't engage into the news. Don't engage themselves into uh, any kind of intellectual work. Of course, they have to prevent all kinds of physical activities. they have to go into a very silent, very restful mode. And then early dinner is always effective, always beneficial. Have a dinner. The best way is have a dinner before the sunset. So after having a dinner, so after having every meal, so the patient has to practice drinking the warm water, not too much warm, but very little warm water after the meals. And after the meals, one should not just lie down immediately, just have to walk a little and within the house. And after that, they have to sleep uh, on their left side, okay, not on the light or not on the supine, but on the left side. So that help you to prevent the acid reflux. So which now, in addition to that, from Ayurveda point of view, we recommend a lot of uh, tranquilizers like mentate, like brahmivati, like shankapushpi. Even the ghee is also having a very soothing effect on your mind, on your body as well. And there are a lot of Ayurveda medications we recommend during the chemotherapy, which have which are very much beneficial. So I just saw yesterday's talk. A lot of that is already talked about. I need not to repeat all that because of the time constraints. So I will focus more on what. Then talk to your emotions. Talk to your emotions. So talk to your dears. So anybody to whom you are comfortable, anybody to whom you are very close to, so just be with them and talk to your emotions. So if you are feeling nervous, you are feeling sad, or you are feeling panic, or if there are any relation problems, or if something is going on uh, your mind, that has to be spoken in front of the nearer or dearest. If there is nobody or you think, you can also go to a professional counselor to whom you can just have a counseling session. So that is going to help you a lot. Okay, so this is very important to have someone to whom you are sharing your emotions, sharing your psychological. Uh, and very important is practice meditation. So we also give a lot of meditation to these patients, where there are a lot of different types of meditation. There is mindfulness meditation. There is mm, MSRT is the mind sound resonance technique. There is Om meditation. Even the transcendental meditation is also very effective. So we recommend the patient to undergo a lot of meditation. Very important is prayers. So a lot of people believe in their religions. They have their own philosophies, and we have to pray to their ideal God, and they have to have a surrender attitude that will definitely help them to relax their mind, reduce the anxiety, reduce the depression, and that gives a very different perspective towards the life. So, lot of prayer and all definitely help. Then, very important is be positive. So, we ask the patient that anyway, okay, this has happened, and you are going to come out of it. Now, let's plan after this what you are going to do. So, which is the place you want to visit after once you come out of the cancer? What are the food items you want to eat? How you want to live? What you want to say? What you want to do? What you want to achieve? So we ask them to write some plan after the cancer life. Okay, so it is something very motivating. So that gives some hopes to the patient, and we encourage them that, and we motivate them saying that the after every dark night, so there will be a very bright day. So similarly, after this, there will be a very bright, very cheerful, very joyful life. You have to just look forward and just wait this dark phase to go away. And reading a lot of philosophy will definitely help. I personally talk to many patients who actually after the cancer they started reading a lot of philosophies. Then they started understanding the life in a different way. And this, when I asked personally in their interview that how can the philosophy can help your life, and they talk a lot about it, and definitely the philosophies will help you in your life, and that is true for many people. So this is what the thing, and
Doctor, if I may interrupt, we're 5 minutes over time. If you can conclude quickly.
sure,
Thank
sure.
you very much.
Yeah, I'm done. So this is the last slide. So in this, I would like to share the one recent study, so which we did in cancer patients. So doing yogic sukshma yama so would help to overcome the joint pain. So which is because of the which is one of the side effect of a cancer drug called aromatase inhibitors. So there are a lot of researches being done with the yoga, with the Ayurveda, and now it is evident that these therapies definitely help to overcome the problem of the chemotherapy, to to manage the side effects of the chemotherapy, and to these therapies helps to tolerate the uh, chemotherapies. So I sincerely pray to God that no one on this world should get cancer, and if somebody unfortunately gets, so help them to come out of it with with a very minimal things. So thank you very much for patient listening.
Thank you very much, Doctor. That was a very enlightening presentation. You did not only increase my knowledge, but also my empathy towards patients undergoing chemotherapy. We have some questions in the chat box. I will get to them first. We have a question from Ju Cheng Yi. What is asafoetida and how does it help in a healthy diet? What are the quantities that need to be consumed? Doctor?
Yes. So asafoetida is a Ayurveda drug which we in India we use in our daily food cooking. So this is a very simple. I mean, you can just Google it and you can find out. So this is available in India. It is one of the. Uh, it is having an antiseptic and anti-inflammatory property. So when you eat that, so the inflammation in the GI system will come down, and it also kills the microorganisms in the harmful microorganisms organisms in the digestive system, and it also helps to digest the food. And it keeps you light, keeps you. So after food, some people they feel very heaviness and very lethargic. So somebody who consumes these drugs would help them to feel light. So it helps in digestion.
Okay, we have another question from Jana Ang Pri. Is it true that cancer patients should have a low fiber diet?
Should have low fiber diet.
Low, L-O-W.
No, actually, low in the sense they should not have too much of fiber food. Okay, so moderate. It should not be too less. It should not be too. Sometimes what happens when the patient they develop the constipation and all, so they adopt a lot of fiber food because they listen from many places. So that makes them discomfort, abdominal discomfort, and that also affect their nutritional intake. Because of that, we say that don't have too much, but adequate amount of fiber is very, very necessary, which help you to overcome the constipation and to help you to digest.
Okay, thank you. Another question is from Eileen. She asked, there has been suggestions that taking alkaline water and antioxidants help in the recovery of cancer and also help prevent cancer. Can you share your views, please?
Yes, antioxidants are one of the pathology of the cancer is oxidative stress. So oxidative stress is when there is an imbalance in the oxygen, oxygen-free radicals, we say, oxygen-free radicals and the antioxidants, the vitamins. So when there is an imbalance, when we have less antioxidants and more oxidative stress, so that triggers the cancer. Okay. So taking good amount of antioxidants. So antioxidants are available in the fruits, antioxidants are available in the nuts, antioxidants are available in the sprouts, vegetables. Okay. So taking all those would definitely help us to prevent the cancer. And lot of Ayurveda herbs, what we are talking, like cumin seeds, we have a lot of spices like pepper, uh, we have turmeric, all these have antioxidant property. Even all the Ayurveda herbal preparations, they got a lot of antioxidants. So hence, taking these antioxidants definitely help us to prevent a lot of cancer.
Okay, thanks again, doctor. From DIM ICU, when a patient is advised to be in palliative stage and has intermittent nerve pain, do we still restrict the food they enjoy? How can we help the patient to feel the quality of life? Next question. How can we help the patient to feel the quality of life?
So in the palliative care, and if the patient is having the pain, so pain it can be neural, it can be muscular, it can be some origin from any thing. So at that time, we advise the palliative care it is fixed that patient is going to die uh, within in few weeks or few months or few years because of the cancer. So in that phase, so there are many things. So when you are adopting any treatment, you have to focus on what is your goal. So is it you want to cure the cancer, or is it you want to manage the symptom, or is it you want to help the patient to enjoy the life whatever the small duration he has. So in that case, what we advise the patient is if somebody is having a neural pain, we advise them a lot of the massage therapy. So massage would help them to reduce their pain. And of course, the pain is too much. So there are a lot of conventional medications they have to undergo. There are some sedatives, some injections which they have to be given. So that has to be given. And regarding the food in the palliative care, so that time patient just want to just enjoy the food what he wants. Isn't it? So that time we advise that we should give the food which the patient is asking in a very little quantity so that he can tolerate and he should not have any other symptoms. A small amount of food which they like the most should be given at that point of time. You should not think of avoiding the cancer or preventing the cancer or anything. It's just the patient wants that particular kind of food and he want to be mentally satisfied. So for that you have to just give a small amount of uh, food what he is asking, even though the food is not so healthy, but you have to give them small amount to just satisfy their tongue and their mind. And quality of life, yeah, all these therapies like yoga, Ayurveda, there are a lot of research being done and shown that adopting yoga Ayurveda based lifestyle, yoga Ayurveda therapies, treatment, the sukshma the pranayama, that all help the patient to improve their quality of life. So earlier they had a lot of pain, now the pain is reduced. Earlier they just lie down, they used to lie down just on the bed throughout the day. Now they are able to just move around. Okay? So in some way it has definitely helped to improve their quality of life. So yes, these therapies help them to improve their quality of life, and these therapies, there are many things we can do for the neuronal pain and all.
Thanks, doctor. I think you covered the second question as well. Another question is from Mars or Denise. Question is it advised to avoid meat, especially red meat, when one has cancer?
When it comes to non-vegetarian food during the chemotherapy or radiotherapy or during the cancer treatment, So it is always advised to avoid that. The reason is, mm, uh, one reason is the meat is very heavy for digestion, and the digestive tract is already weak. It cannot digest even the boiled vegetables. So the meat is going to take a lot of time to digest, and it remains in the stomach for a lot of time, and that increases the risk of gastritis and all that. So usually we ask the patient to avoid the meat during the uh, in our lifestyle modification. If somebody is so much, I mean, want to eat and all that, so we give only a piece of just to satisfy their mind.
Okay, noted that, doctor. So I have a question of my own. I think there was a slide where you mentioned lifestyle modification for patients undergoing chemotherapy to alleviate pain. So can you give us examples of the lifestyle modification that you recommend for patients who are undergoing chemotherapy?
The whole my topic is on lifestyle modification only. The lifestyle includes the physical activity, the diet, the resting pattern, the psychological things, and our habits and all that. So how our diet should be, how our physical activity, so all that I have shared. So I will share these slides to you. So what kind of lifestyle is this? Is what is the lifestyle? So you have to modify your diet, listening to your body, listening to your system. You have to eat food which is suitable to you, which is devoid of spices, which is devoid of salt. Okay? So gradually you have to reduce the intake of the salt, intake of the spicy food, and have an adequate rest, talk your emotions, and don't involve yourself into too much of strenuous activities. So restrict your activities and do only the simple loosening practices, sukshmayama. That is. So these are the lifestyle modification what you need to do during the therapies, which will help you to overcome the problem.
Okay, thanks, doctor. We have a couple more questions from the audience. Sandra Seaman is asking, healthy diet is very important, but when you are sick, you often have no appetite. When the body receives all the food, what would you recommend?
So we have to understand the lack of appetite is because of the inflammation, because of the inflammation in the GI tract, or it can be because of the constipation, and sometimes it can be simply because of the chemotherapy, because chemotherapy are central acting also. So they affect your brain, the hunger center, even that way also they affect your appetite. That time, so what we advise them is have a simple soups. Sometimes when you don't have any appetite, but still we advise the patient to have little bit of things, because having something will trigger the digestive juices, and after that patient develops some hunger. So for that we advise boiled vegetables, or we ask the patient which is the most favorite food among the healthy list of food, and we add lot of uh, some hing and all that, so which are very and just smelling the food itself will trigger your appetite. So there are such kind of food. So that will help them. So initially, when in case of when they don't have, we should give them boiled vegetable or some khichdi, what I shared you before. So khichdi. So once they have some small amount of food, when it goes inside, it induces the gastric juices. Even that itself will help them to have little bit of appetite. So sometimes you have to force them to eat.
Okay, we have one more question from the floor from Dorothy Cordes. Is there a difference in approach on cancer patient men in lifestyle modification than in women patients? If yes, how can we get through them?
Yeah, usually women will have more psychological issues compared. Otherwise, the chemo radiotherapy side effects will be similar to both of them. But in general, in general, the male have, I mean, the better capacity to tolerate the chemo radiotherapy side effects compared to females. And when we recommend the lifestyle modification, we recommend same for both the cases. A lot of counseling is needed in case of females compared to males, and the side effects of the chemoradiotherapy will be the like same for both of them. Only their tolerance and their reaction, their psychological reaction to the therapy would be a little bit different.
Okay, thank you, doctor. I think we'll take the last question from Savita, who raised her hand.
Hello, doctor. This is Savita here.
Hello.
My question is on behalf of my mother-in-law. She was diagnosed with cancer 2 years back, and she's still having the ulcers in her mouth. And beside this, she always complain of some sticky things near her feet, or her skin has got very sensitive, and somehow she still feels like it is because of the cancer treatment. So would you highlight on that and some kind of a solution for these issues? Thank you.
Is she on medications still?
No, she's done with the medication. Nothing has been prescribed, and she's having a very disciplined life, very disciplined actually. So
how old she is?
She's she just reached 70.
She have constipation?
No, actually, she is with us for the past 6 years. Initially, before the cancer, she used to complain about the constipation, but I guess after the cancer, I think she's having more you can say rich life, and she enjoys. She is doing everything whatever you were telling in this session. So somehow I'm just still wondering why she's having all those small issues, though they sound small, but still she complains about it. And ulcer is the most important, I mean, because she cannot eat the spicy food, because I myself cook for her, and most of the time I make her very, very milder. Milder means no chili, nothing. So it's very mild food.
One small amount of chili trigger the mouth ulcers.
Yeah, she cannot tolerate any amount of chili.
So even sometimes these are called as residual symptoms. Sometimes this chemotherapy side effects, they remain for a longer period. So one of that she developed is the hypersensitivity of the oral mucosa. So it has lost its ability to tolerate the spice. Okay, so that has what happened to her. So in that case, we advise them to take this til tel, sesame oil, sesame oil, and they have to take around some 4 spoons of sesame oil, add it in a warm water, and she has to hold in her mouth for 1 minute. So every day morning she has to practice it for a week, and then you see there will be a change in the sensitivity of the oral mucosa.
Okay. You mean to say oil pulling?
Oil.
Okay.
Is she doing that?
No, she's not doing, but I'm aware about this process. So I thought I should confirm.
She should. Yeah, this is a residual symptom of the chemotherapy. The hypersensitivity of the oral mucosa which is seen in many patients, and the oil pulling with til tel is helpful.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, everyone. With that, we have reached the conclusion of our session. Thank you, Dr. Kashinath, for sharing your time with us. You've covered a comprehensive care of chemotherapy patients.